Naruto. Where the heck have you been for the last 7 years? The plot of the anime revolves around a young boy named Naruto Uzumaki who wants to be the greatest ninja in his hometown. By the way, all the secret ninja villages that people like Naruto live in are all the size of small cities. However, 12 years before the main story takes place, a massive demon the size of Godzilla, called the Nine-Tailed Fox, attacks his hometown. To defeat it, the leader of the village, the 4th Hokage, sacrifices his own life to seal it into the newborn Naruto. That last little fact, no one ever told him until halfway through episode 1, which takes place 12 years later. The backstory aside, the plot of the show revolves around Naruto and his teammates going on ninja missions and trying to become better shinobi. Along for the ride, you have Sasuke Uchiha, who is uber serious and way too overpowered for his age. Next up is Sakura, who's a bit like Twilight's Bellswan in the fact that she's incredibly smart, but is definitely the weakest character in the bunch. Supervising and training them, you have Kakashi Hayate, who is by far one of the coolest characters in the show. The anime itself is based off of a manga by the same name, which in turn is loosely based off of the old ninja myths, and a healthy dose of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z for its main influence. However, at least with Naruto, you don't have to worry about there being 5 straight episodes of powering up or 20 straight episodes of training. Now for the episodes. Disc 1 of the Uncut box set 1 and revolves mostly on introducing the characters and letting us know what their strengths and weaknesses are. Disc 2 has us going into the Land of Wave story arc. In it, the crew are tired of doing normal missions at their level, so they go on a protection mission to guard the bridge builder Tezuna on its way home. However, the vicious ninja Zabuza Momochi, the legendary demon of the mist, is hired to kill the bridge builder. And considering he's a master at both the martial arts and mind games, I'd say the cards are in his favor. The third and final disc revolves mostly around the team training so they can build up their reserves to fight Zabuza again when he returns. We also get to see the two sides of his minion Haku, that of a gentle caring soul, and that of a hardened killer. As you may have guessed, the cast of characters in this show is varied and plentiful. However, like the main group, it's kind of a mixed bag. First off, you have Naruto, who's got nothing but getting people's respect and ramen on the mind. He's your typical shonen protagonist, a bit of an idiot, but when you look at it, or at least how I look at it, because I have a few learning disabilities, I swear the guy has either ADD or Asperger's syndrome, because he doesn't always get it the first few hundred times through, but he tries hard and he has to have an incredible work ethic to get anything done. However, this still doesn't change the fact that he doesn't look or act like how we think a ninja should look or act. There is also the fact that very few ninja have ever looked good in bright yellow jumpsuits. He's not it. Then you have Sasuke Uchiha, who lives up to his namesake, Sarutobi Sasuke, who was considered the Chuck Norris of all ninja in both history and myth. But despite how skilled he is as a ninja, as a person, he's got emotional problems, and he seems to have the emotional range of a machine. Overall, I don't have an opinion of him either way. He's just there to be the opposite of Naruto, where Naruto has a wide emotional range, he doesn't. While Naruto has to work hard for everything he gets, he doesn't. Although I do have to admit, it's fun seeing him get his butt handed to him every time he fights someone stronger than he is. Then you have my least favorite character in the show, Sakura. Frankly, there's a lot of reasons not to like about her. Namely, the fact that she doesn't get good until the filler arcs, the movies, and Shippuden. Why? Because she is clearly the smartest character in the show. She is the one with the best chakra control in the show. And she knows her stuff. She just doesn't know how to apply it to a real world situation such as big scary guy with a large sword attacking you. That all said, I'm expecting Xena Warrior Princess. I'm expecting Maid Marian from some of the later Robin Hood myths. Oh, for crying out loud, I'm even expecting the Dead or Alive girls to be better than her. And everybody should know by now that DOA is just there for the fan service. That said, for most of the show she is playing the damsel in distress. Moving on, we have Kakashi, who at one moment can be pretty flaky, but the next he does actually prove that he's one of the strongest characters in the show, and he has some genuine depth to him even when not compared to the other characters. As for the bad guys, what can I say? Zabuza is a vicious killer and very sadistic, and Stephen J. Bloom does a fantastic job of getting that across. However, I have to give it to Haku, who conveys that on one end he just wants to live a peaceful life, but the other end he only feels he can be useful if he's used as a weapon. In short, he's the most sympathetic one of the whole cast. As for the rest of the supporting cast, well, they're either not here until later seasons, or they don't really get a good moment to shine, except for maybe Iruka and Inari. The voice acting in both languages are pretty good. As far as the main characters, Mizuki, Iruka, Inari, and Haku are concerned, I felt the actors in both language tracks did a fairly good job portraying them. And while I can say the same thing about Ibisu, Crispin Freeman in the English dub steals the show once again. However, I felt in the case of Zabuza that Stephen J. Bloom did a better job of getting his viciousness across than the Japanese actor. And I thought Konohamaru was less annoying in the dub than he was in the sub. However, when it comes to the sub, Tsunami felt like she wasn't just reading some lines, and Tazuna and the third Hokage sounded more regal. Plus, you have the lack of Naruto's infamous catchphrase. However, if there's one aspect of the show that steals the spotlight, it has to be the music. Using orchestral pieces, traditional Japanese instruments, and even heavy metal and jazz from time to time, the soundtrack to Naruto could take a scene and make it seem a little bit more alive, whether it's one of the comedic moments, one of the sadder moments, or even stirring some of the more intense fighting scenes. If I do have a complaint with the show, it's with the opening. Despite having the best animation, and despite the fact I do love the song, I don't think it fit with the show. First off, they grabbed the wrong band. Hound Dog, the group that did the opening song Rocks, sounds a heck of a lot like Dire Straits, and unfortunately, no matter how good they are, they're not really what the 12 to 16-year-old demographic the show is going to be into. The second problem is it's a little misleading, as the opening sequence makes the main group look like they get along and they can work well together, instead of the dysfunctional family that they are. Sakura is actually made useful in the opening, and Naruto and Sasuke are buddy-buddy instead of at each other's throats. However, the ending is just awesome. It is beautiful, it sticks with the show, and Akabishi does a bang-up job with the song Wind. I thought it fit, I thought it worked with the age group to some degree, and it was perfect. However, everything else seems to be average, and I felt the DVD extras were a little lacking. To sum it up, while Naruto uses what it has very well, it's still an average anime at heart, and will remain that way for several seasons. The music is great, and while I liked both language tracks, I think the Japanese is the superior in this case. The characters are hit and miss, and the overall visuals and animation quality is about average to above average. The opening of the anime had much to be desired, while the closing outdid all expectations. However, the DVD extras were a bit lacking. Granted, I did like the storyboard and some of the other art was a nice touch, but I felt overall it was lacking something. Altogether, we have a 70 out of 100. If you're a fan of the shonen anime, you might enjoy this. However, Naruto is still fairly average, so it doesn't go above and beyond the Call of Duty. Still, there are worse things you could be watching out there.